Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about every book I want to read in April.
Drowning in your love, let's sail away. You got me caught up in a dream vacation. Your heart's an overdrive, my destination. And every time I'm with you, it's like a holiday. We could take back the night with a little more time. Take back the night with the rhythm alright. Take back the night with a little more time. Take back the night with a little more time. And just know whatever you do, I'll be right here waiting for you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'll be right here waiting for you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'll be right here waiting for you. I'll be right here waiting for
curse or a consequence of some last line of defense. I tried so hard to be something you would want. I just hope that someone else can make this stop. 'Cause I think I'm turning around. Oh, it's time to stop pretending. Call me out, I'll be overwhelmed. And I'm sorry for not speaking up. I never share my feelings, but I'll finally get to be myself. Cause I think I'm turning around. Oh, it's time to stop pretending. Call me out, I'll be overwhelmed. And I'm sorry for not speaking up. I never share my feelings, but I'll finally get to be myself.
So for this month, I'm going to set myself a goal of reading 6 books this month. I was on a good roll in March, so I'm trying to catch up on the books I'm behind for my Goodreads challenge, which is to read 1 book every week. So if I read 2 more than 1 a week, that would be 6. And I know that I can manage to read 6 books in 1 month. I've done it before last year as well. So obviously I have way more than 6 books on my TBR, but as you know me, I'm a mood reader and I love to have many options to choose from. So as I do every month, I participate in the Buzzwordathon hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. This month's buzzword is to read a book with big, little in the title. For this prompt, I decided to go with The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I've heard amazing things about this book. This is the first book of a series. I believe it's 3 or 4 books, not totally sure, but this is a sci-fi and it follows an eccentric crew of a spaceship that is tasked to make a tunnel between 2 planets. But they will find a lot of obstacles along the way. I've heard amazing things about this author's writing, and I'm really looking forward to get into this one. I read a lot of fantasy. Sci-fi is not necessarily my go-to, but I do love dystopian, which is a subcategory of sci-fi. I personally have a phobia of everything that is outer space ever since I was a very little girl, and just thinking of the whole universe and the space and planets and all that thing and all of those things actually really freak me out. But I am interested to get into it and see how it's going to play out. Hopefully I'm not too creeped out, but we'll see. I might decide to not continue the series if I'm not vibing with it, but I did read The Sleeping Giant, which is called The Themis Files by Sylvain Neuvel, which is a Canadian author who writes in English, and I read them a while ago, and it does talk about aliens and space, and I did enjoy those. So I'm hopeful that I will enjoy this one as well. I'm also going to try to read the books from last month's buzzword, which was locations, because I didn't end up reading any book with a location in the title. I tried to, but I didn't succeed in that. So I'm going to roll them over into this month's TBR as well. I have 2 books for this prompt. The first one is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I did read the first 20-ish pages, which is the introduction and the prologue, I believe. So far, I'm enjoying it. It's another sci-fi because there's a lot of science that is involved in dinosaurs and all that stuff. It's genetics mostly and DNA and stuff like that. I'm not a scientist, and I was afraid that I was not going to understand all of the science talk. But so far, so good. I'm not too confused, and it's going well with the first 20-ish pages. It's on my e-reader, and so far it's going well. So I'm really excited with that, and I can't wait to get through this book. The second book for the location prompt is The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is a first book of a trilogy. It is a YA. It is set in a Cairo, and it follows a young girl who is a con woman who finds herself accidentally summoning a djinn, and she is transported into this magical world, and she has to go through a journey in the Devabad. Is it a city or an area? Something like that. I've heard amazing things about this book. I've tried to pick up this book all year last year, and I didn't manage to. And this year is the year I'm going to start reading this book. I loved P.J. Clarke's novellas and a novel that were set in Cairo 1920s, which is a djinn in Cairo, The Haunting of Tramcar 015, and A Master of Jinn. I love those. I loved the setting in Cairo. So I'm really excited to pick this one up as well and to see what all the hype is about. For the next books, I have 5 current reads that I'm trying to finish throughout this month. The first one is Shatter Me by Taheri Mafi. This is the first book of a series. It started out a trilogy, but then a lot of books got added to this series. I am not liking this book. I love the premise. I love the concept of it. I love the concept of the writing and how some things that she put in the writing, but I hate the execution of it. I do not find them believable, and there's a lot of incoherence in the characters building. And what I mean that is that if you say that a character is like this, you stick with it and you don't change things halfway through, which I feel it's going like that a lot during the book. So there's a lot of things that I don't understand why the characters are doing that. It doesn't fit with what we were shown from the beginning, what this character is supposed to be from the beginning. So that confuses me and bothers me a lot. And there's a lot of plot holes, which I cannot stand. If you know me, I am very, very picky when it comes to coherence in stories, in characters, and this is not it for me. But I still want to finish it. I've been told that the next books get better, so I'm still hopeful, but I do want to finish it and get that over with. The next one is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the first book of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I love this book so much, but I cannot read it for long at the same time. I haven't touched this one during the last month, but I do want to finish the whole trilogy during this year. And I'm taking my time with it, but I kind of do want to move on to the second book. So I'm going to try to make some progress in it because it is actually really, really dense to read because of it's full of descriptions. It's very slow, very complex. And I know that it's not a book for everyone. I really enjoy it. I'm a big fan of the movies. It's my first time reading the books, and I'm really enjoying it. But I do need to take my time. When I read too much of it at the same time, my brain just gets tired of it. So yeah, hopefully I can get some progress. I think I'm about 60-ish% through already. So hopefully I can get to the second book next month. The next book I'm currently reading is A Song of Writ and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a YA fantasy novel. It is the first of 2 books, I believe. It follows 2 young protagonists who need to kill the other person during this competition at a festival in the big city in order to save themselves and have a better life. Malik needs to save his sister, and Karina is trying to resuscitate her mom with black magic, and they are not aware that they need to kill the other person. So it's quite interesting. I think the setting is really, really interesting. I'm halfway through so far. I'm enjoying it. It's not a 5-star read, but I'm really, really enjoying the setting. But yeah, it's still a very fun read and interesting magical system. So I'm really excited to finish this one so I can get to the second book. And the final book that I'm currently reading is Escaping Exodus by Nikki Drayden. This is a first book of a duology, I believe, or trilogy. I think the second book just came out. And this is a very peculiar book. It's very different, very unique. It's sci-fi. It has LGBTQ plus rep. I had a hard time to get into the first chapter at the beginning, but after the second chapter, now I'm actually into it and invested, and I'm really excited to get through it. It is quite a small book, so I'm really confident that I will finish this one soon, and I really want to watch the live stream for this book because it was part of the Blackathon, and I didn't manage to read it during the Blackathon because my copy didn't arrive. But I do want to watch that live stream afterwards so I can get other people's thoughts on this book as well. And no, I'm not finished. I'm still going to add some more books on this TBR. First of all, because one of my goals for 2022 is to finish some series that I started, but also to finish books that have been on my TBR for the longest, so I can just renew with some new books and not have those older books sit on my unread card for too long, if that makes any sense. And because of that, I'm going to try to read these two books, which are The Beasts of Night and The Crown of Thunder by Tochi Onyebuchi. This is a duology, YA dystopian again. I'm reading a lot of sci-fi lately, but I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I already read the first book, and I did try to read this one, the second one, in February for the Blackathon, but I was just so confused. It's been way too long since I read the first book. Even if I do quite remember well what happens in this, I was just so confused in the second book. I decided to just reread the first one in order to read the second one. This is more like a fantasy type of dystopian. There's a lot of magic involved where the rich pay the poor to get rid of their sins. The sins take form of a beast, and the bigger the sin, the bigger the beast. And the sin eaters have to fight the beast, and once they fight them and they eat them, they become tattoos on their body. And if there's no more space on their bodies for more sins, they eventually die. So it's rich people taking advantage of poor people, as it always has been and still is to this day. There's a lot of political intrigue in this as well, which I was really enjoying, and I'm actually really happy to finally get to finish this duology. And the last book I'm putting in this TBR is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I have started a reread of the whole Hunger Games trilogy because I do want to get to The Ballads of Songbirds and Snake, which is the prequel that just got out last year, I believe. And it's been such a long time since I first read the books that I decided to pick them back up. So this is the second time I'll be reading Catching Fire, and I'm not too worried about it. I loved rereading the first one, so I know I'll love rereading the second one as well. And those read actually really, really fast, so I'm not too worried about having too many books on my TBR. I know I'll be able to get to it. So that's it for me for now. For April, that's enough. It's 10 books. I'm hoping to read 6 of them. So that's enough. I'm going to stop there. I do have a lot of more options if I actually manage to read 10 books, but let's be realistic. There's no way I can finish all of them this month. But yeah, hopefully this month it goes smoothly. I cannot wait for warm weather and sun and some better days, because March was a very, very tough month for me, and I cannot wait to feel better, honestly. Let me know in the comments if you read any of these books. Let me know what you're planning on reading for April. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment if you want to, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.